And you see, there's one lie that I hate that has been widely propagated. And obviously, a lot of young people out there love to gobble up this lie. They love this lie because for some reason, it validates their sense of hustle. But today I want to talk about that lie because I believe it's one of the biggest lies out there that is making a lot of people miss the mark in their lives. And that's the lie that money can buy happiness. I watched on Instagram today a young lady talking about the fact that money can buy happiness. And she was like, she doesn't know where people got this ridiculous idea that money cannot buy happiness. And I want to tell you the truth, that money cannot buy happiness. No matter how much you argue it, there is a lot of proof to argue against that thought pattern that money can buy happiness. Money cannot buy happiness. Money cannot buy happiness. And this doesn't mean money is bad. And it doesn't mean that happiness is elusive. They are on two different lanes that don't connect. No matter what you think, money cannot buy happiness. Happiness doesn't lead to money. They are two different lanes. They do not connect. There are some people that are very rich and are terribly sad. And there are some people that are dirt poor, have nothing to their name, and are truly happy. There are. Money cannot buy happiness. It doesn't buy happiness. You see, the problem is that a lot of people are not very city gate minded. And what I mean is, there's a part in the Bible where in Proverbs that says, wisdom calls aloud from the city gates where people meet. What that's trying to tell you is that if you look around you at other people's lives well enough, you would gain wisdom. You would hear God. You see, some people's lives will be examples for how we should live our lives. And some other people's lives will be examples of how we should not live our lives. And there have been too many people in history that have proved that money doesn't buy happiness. It doesn't. Today I'm going to be mentioning some people. And I'm not trying to be insensitive on this podcast. I'm just trying to be as open as possible so that that one person that needs to hear this thing, so that you do not sear your soul, you do not sell your soul for money, because you feel like at the other end of gaining money is happiness. I'm going to be as open as possible, and I'm not trying to be insensitive. But the biggest proof that someone is unhappy is for them to end their own lives. That's the biggest evidence of unhappiness. To end your own life. To think that there is no need to live anymore. I'm going to talk about a few people in recent times, fairly recent times though. So I'm not going too far back. I don't think I'll go as far back as the 80s. I'll start from the 90s. People who reached the height of their career and made a lot of money, but still decided to engage in the act of taking their own lives, which I said is an expression of deep unhappiness. Nobody that is happy takes their own life. I'm going to mention some people right now. And I could go on and on, but I'll just mention but a few. To prove to you that money doesn't buy happiness. Amongst these people, I'm going to mention some people that overdosed on drugs. So you might think those people were not trying to take their lives, but what I'm saying, for someone to overdose on a drug, it means that they were trying to dull a pain. And that pain was so much that they excessively took a particular drug, and which ended their lives. So those people are going to form part of this list. Money doesn't buy happiness. Young people, please don't be deceived. That statement is a fact. It's not an underachieving statement. It's a fact. Money can't buy happiness. If money could buy happiness, Robin Williams wouldn't have killed himself. Robin Williams was an actor. He was at the height of his career when he killed himself. One of the highest paid actors when he killed himself. He was choosing the movies he wanted to act in. At the point when he killed himself, he was in demand. There was a time Apple reached out to him to do an ad, a voiceover for an ad for them, and they were willing to pay him anything, but he turned it down. That's how much money he had. He turned it down. He was picking his own roles. He was an Academy Award winning actor. Killed himself. Ended his own life. Money doesn't buy happiness. Alexander McQueen, the British designer, at the time when he killed himself in his own mansion, he was the most talked about designer in the world. He was at the top of his career, demanding figures that he wanted easily. He was the go-to designer on everybody's lips, designing for everyone. Ended his own life. Money doesn't buy happiness. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Academy Award winning actor, started his career and was stuck in supporting roles for a long time. Finally had a breakthrough. Did a movie called Capote, for which he won Best Actor. An award that a lot of actors feel gets you into A-list. He became an A-lister immediately. He could demand what he wanted to be paid. And at this point, he really didn't have to audition for roles anymore. Died of an overdose of drugs, trying to dull the pain. Died with a needle in his hand. Avicii was a world-class DJ. Probably the number one DJ at the point where he died. He was in demand. He sold out stadiums all over the world. Flew to a hotel and slit his own wrist. The height of his career. The very height of his career. It wasn't on decline, it was in demand. Chester Bennington, lead singer of a group called Linkin Park, killed himself in his own house when Linkin Park was at the forefront and at the height of their career, selling out stadium, string of number one songs. Killed himself, left his family on holiday and went back home to kill himself in his house. Money doesn't buy happiness. Amy Winehouse, At the point where she died, she was probably the most talked about female artist in the world. String of #1 songs also. Incredible talent. Finally broke out from an average or poor life in the UK. Became a world-class superstar. Died of an overdose, trying to dull the pain and the meaninglessness in her life. Money doesn't buy happiness. Anthony Bourdain, a world-renowned chef, traveled all around the world to different restaurants to cook for different people. Had his own show on CNN. Killed himself at the height of his career. Money doesn't buy happiness. Kurt Cobain was the lead singer of a group called Nirvana. At the very height of Nirvana's popularity, Nirvana was the rock band to beat. Kurt Cobain took a gun, put it to his head, and shot himself. Money doesn't buy happiness. I could go on and on and on. Stop lying to yourself. Money doesn't buy happiness. If money bought happiness, none of these people would be dead. Not by accident. They died by their own hands. Some of them outrightly trying to end their lives, and some of them trying to numb or end the pain and the meaninglessness in their lives. Money doesn't buy happiness. Young people need to understand this. I've said this in a podcast before. If money bought happiness, a lot of these billionaires wouldn't be divorced. Second marriage, third marriage, fifth marriage. Money doesn't buy happiness. Money is not bad. Happiness is not elusive. You can have money and not be happy, and you might be happy without money. There are a lot of ways to get money, but only 3 things in this life give you happiness. 3 things, and money is not one of them. There are a million ways to get money, 1,000,001 ways to get money. So I'm not going to go down that route. But there are only 3 things that give you true happiness in life. And all these 3 things have a foundation of meaning to them. The 3 things that can give a person happiness is what I call #1, clarity of activity. When you know that what you do has meaning, what you do with your life has meaning. The work you do, what keeps you busy has meaning. And what do I mean by your activity having meaning? Is that what you do brings happiness to people. It makes other people happy. It puts a smile on people's face. It makes people say, thank God. Your activity makes people say, thank God. Make people believe that there is a God. So when I say it makes people happy, it's not just about euphoria. That people, when you walk, they believe that there is God. Your work validates the existence of God. This brings us happiness. That your work validates the existence of God, makes people say, thank God, or there must be a God, or this must be God. When you can walk in such a way that someone that never believed in God doesn't know when thank God comes out of their mouths. Or someone that says, look, I don't believe in this God, but from what you've done right now, you started making me start to believe. Clarity of activity. Activity that points people to a knowledge of the Creator and an acknowledgement and appreciation of the Creator. The second thing that brings happiness is clarity of relationships. The people in your life. When you have people in your life that make you understand the love of God. When you have people in your life that make you understand the love of God. That you can look at them and say, why do you love me? And they can't tell you, I don't know why I love you. I just love you because of who you are. They love you with your shortcomings, with your flaws. They love you even when you do not love yourself. When you have people in your life, clarity of relationship that make you have a sense of God's deep love for you. Sometimes these things in your life are not even people. Sometimes it might be a dog, a pet that loves you so seemingly unconditionally in your ugliest days. This brings happiness to us. When we have those people, they might not be many. They might not, as I said, they might not even be people. And when they are people, they might not be many. Usually they are not many. Might be a handful. Might be one person, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, classmate from school, best friend, cousin, mentor, someone who just shows you love regardless of what you do or the mistakes you make. Those people in your life who are very stable in their emotions towards you and their validation of you. Clarity of relationships. Money doesn't buy those people. In fact, people with money find it very hard to know those who truly love them. And that's why you'd realize that sometimes the people with the smallest of means are the people who have clarity of relationships. The clarity of relationship, because they have nothing, they know the people who are really with them. Clarity of relationship come to the surface at the hardest times, during challenges, when families bind together, when a family member is sick and the families just rally together. When a family member is in trouble, family just rally together. When there's a loss in the family just rallies together. Then it's clear that there's true love in that family. Sometimes happiness shines in the toughest challenges. Money doesn't buy happiness. The last thing, and probably the most important thing that gives you happiness, is clarity of self. Knowing who you are and whose you are. Knowing who you are and who you belong to. Knowing that you are not alone. Knowing that you were designed with intention, careful intention, and everything about you was well thought out. This is clarity of self. When you do not try to prove yourself to anybody and you already know that you are accepted by God. Knowing that you are approved by God. Knowing that you are good enough in God's eyes. This is the height of happiness, and money cannot buy this. Money cannot buy identity. Money cannot buy meaningful, true relationships, and money cannot buy meaningful work that makes people aware of the presence of God. Money can't buy happiness. Money is not bad, but it cannot buy happiness. It's limited. And happiness doesn't need money. I need someone to understand this today. Once you understand this, you'll begin to live your life with a greater sense of mission than to just make money. My name is Tola Alabi, and this is the TA Podcast.